Dear friends, hello. This panel discussion is divided into three sections. First section will be dedicated to the topic of money and money in the local media. We will speak about the human resources and about advertising, because it seems to me that in 2020, 2021, we understood how important advertising in media is. So probably you have a different opinion. However, it seems to me that the media decided to make money. They understood that they have to do that. And now I would like to start with the problem of human resources. We call this panel discussion. Uh, just I relocated to Kiev and I joined an IT company because a lot of people, former journalists, they start working in the IT industry or PR communications because they can make more money there. That is why I would like to ask you what the situation is in the regional media, how do you fight the problem, and where do you find people who are willing to work? Hello, my name is Valery Harmash. I am from the website 6262.com.ua from Slavyansk. You are right to say that we are starting from scratch and we employ people who have a huge potential and then we help them develop their skills. We do that not because we want it, but because we cannot do otherwise. Unfortunately, there are not enough people who have relevant experience or skills. We cannot have enough journalists in Slovyansk or in other cities and villages around our city. Probably in the future we will have them, but now we don't. We don't say that there are no absolutely good sales managers, but we need to develop their potential. We create jobs for them, we employ them, and we develop their skills and knowledge. Next question to our speakers. For example, you grow and develop a person, you spend a lot of time, you invest a lot of time to teach this person. However, this person says, sorry, I need to go because I want to do something else because it's very difficult to compete and the salaries are low, of course. When you ask the person how much do you make and when you say how much your editor makes, it looks funny in comparison. Good afternoon. Well, yes, so you're absolutely right. At Nakipilo Media Group, we have been working for 7 years, 7 years and a half. During 6 years, we worked as a team, and then after the pandemic, the people experienced burnout because there were not many news, so the work changed a lot. We can compare that to 2015 or during the election time. That is why two journalists left our team. These were those journalists that came to us very young. One of them went to work in IT, another went to join a press service. However, the situation is that they really went there as qualified experts. Nakipilo prepares good experts, so at least we can be happy that we are experienced in helping others. What do we do with that? After that, we started thinking about how we can pay more to our journalists, to our team. Because our funding, our key funding, these are grant support, and of course, this is the minimal salary that we can pay, which we can pay on a sustainable basis. If we want to employ a new person or to buy new equipment, of course, we need to make money to do that. Speaking of money, Nakipilo is into production, video production. We make the best videos in Kharkiv, and I hope everyone knows about that in and out of Kharkiv. This is the income that we really generate. And of course, we're creating community around media, including with civil society organizations that reach out to us for informational support. Probably they sometimes ask us to record a video or to create some kind of content in a new format. That's how we work. I would like to ask my next question to Anna. Anna and I, we have a story because I became a journalist thanks to Anya. Anya employed me at first because in Luhansk it was difficult to find a job. So, how many people do you have now? Now we have 7 people. This is quite a stable team. We haven't changed for the past 10 years. This year, a new employee joined us. She came to us from Sumy region. She started in Kiev, she worked in Kiev, and she came to work in the region. And to us, it was so good. It's not a trend, it's rather an exception. But I hope that in the future it will be replicated. I'd like to tell you about this problem with the new jobs with the human resources in our region. As far as I remember my career, I see that all over the regions of Ukraine there is a so-called negative selection. When a person comes into the profession, a young person learns something and then moves somewhere else. Why? Because for many years there was a superior attitude from the central media to the regional media. If some of our colleagues have worked 5 or 6 years ago in the regions with colleagues from the central media, then they most probably have faced this superior attitude. Very often it happens then, for example, a celebrity comes to a city and takes part in a briefing together with regional journalists, and then later he or she writes how stupid those local journalists are. It all led to a situation that young people saw their career as there in the center of Ukraine, in the capital. For many years we faced a lot of challenges that the best people relocated to Kiev, to the capital of Ukraine, and we were forced to find new people. However, in 2014, a lot has changed. It turned out that information from the regions became more interesting. A lot happened there. And there was a huge demand on behalf of the central media to information from the regions. It turned out that we had no people to work with. A lot of people ask from the central media, Anya, can you please help us find somebody? Can you please find us a special correspondent in Luhansk or in Donetsk region? That is why it seems to me that this question is hugely important. A situation which happened within the past 2 years, where there was a high demand for the regional context, it improves our regional media. It has changed within the past few years. It changes our work. It makes us become better. You were right saying that there was this superior attitude. However, we see that there is a popular public channel in Telegram which is called Regionality, and each piece of news is something very funny. So our editor used to say, prepare 7 news stories. So you try to find 5 and then 2 are left, and you're looking for some kind of a trash story. This happened before. So let's ask our colleague from Bakhmut, what's the situation in your region? I would like to say that I'm of those journalists who went from the center of Ukraine to the regions. I was born in Kharkiv, then I studied and worked in Kiev, and then I came back to Bakhmut. I taught my team from scratch. As for the news report, we discussed a lot, so we tried to learn and grow each and every day because people don't want to join the media because of the salary. However, the market is not very competitive in the regions. We were happy to find a couple of students. Some of them were heads of the territorial centers, some of them worked in other areas, and now they wanted to join the media. Our website works as a separate media, I would like to say, and we have a radio station, free radio, in Bakhmut. And when first we tried to find professional journalists with proper diploma. However, we couldn't get on the same page with those people because we all had our different vision of the final text, of the final version. That is why I do understand that it's very difficult to find people. We've been looking for a new employee for 6 months, and we're looking for two people for the past 2 years. When I talk to my colleagues from my Luhansk Oblast, very often there is a problem of cooperation with the local government. So I think it's easier to do that in the regions. They experience something like that in Slovyansk, where you offered anything from the part of the authorities, because we all know that some corrupted media, they can make this prefabricated news, and the case with the car accident of Truhin, MP who got into a car accident, and a lot of media removed news about him because they were paid. So we are speaking of independent journalism. My approach to independent journalism, I think that only financial independent media outlets can be really independent. If we have enough money, we have the possibility to refuse the authorities to publish what is convenient to them. If we have money, I think we also have our own principles, our own strategy, that we do not publish prefabricated news. There are different options. For example, people in local media, they try to write those prefab news ordered by a political party or by the local government. So that's exactly what I was asking about. For some people, this is quite an easy business model. You are right. If we go the easy way, then of course we can get in touch with the authorities and to be the mouthpiece of the authorities, and someone might call it journalism. However, I cannot tell it journalism. That's exactly what happened in Kharkiv before the elections. There were a lot of new websites. For example, one of them was called Первая столица, or First Capital. There was a lot of information about Mikhailo Dobkin, who pays a lot of money to his followers. So my question is, do you cooperate with these people, and who are those people who publish those prefab news? I saw your face. What do you mean? Well, I don't know what to say. It seems to me that you could see my reaction on my face. Well, of course, before the election, newspapers such as Vremya Dobkina, the Time of Dobkin, appeared, or this Первая столица, or First Capital Media. I don't know whether they will survive. As for the Первая столица, they have a new story that Terehov has won. I have already told you that Kharkivsky Izvestia news outlet, there was information about the campaign of Terehov, that he was visiting a school, a kindergarten, or that he was present at a dog competition. So is it journalism? I think that kind of news won't persuade anyone. We all understand that it's prefab news. It's not real journalism. If we listen to inhabitants of Kharkiv who wanted to vote, they didn't know whom they would vote for. They knew that, for example, Terehov was not very good. However, um, people said, well, but the media write a lot about him. And it was a negative side because they didn't trust a person who writes too much about himself or makes other media write a lot about himself. So I don't think that this is a sustainable media outlets because I doubt that, for example, advertisers will advertise on this website. Yeah, so that's true. Now a lot of advertisers don't want to associate themselves with politicians. So there is this myth if you advertise in a political media that you will be successful. People do not understand that you just advertised. My question is to Anya. It seems to me that there is a high demand, a need for fixers and for special correspondents in Donbass. Probably you have your own vision. What shall be done? Maybe we shall create a kind of a hub in Donbass, journalists who will help find new teammates. We were thinking about that. We even tried to organize a school of journalism. We aimed to possibly engage people who would get through this school to join our team later. We organized this event twice, however, to no avail, because people who joined this school probably they didn't have understanding of what a journalist profession is. Many people imagine it differently. For example, girls want to be beautiful and to be TV presenters. That's how they imagine journalist job is. And some boys say that this is a relaxed work. When you just write an article per week, you get a lot of money. But it's totally different. You need to really get to work in the regions. You need to write a lot of articles every day on different topics. There is a lot of routine work, and some people are not prepared to do that, unfortunately, especially young people. Sometimes graduates from Mariupol State University, a man came to us, a graduate from this university came to us. He worked there for a couple of weeks and said, I'm sorry, I can no longer work 8 hours per day, every day. I cannot do that. And he left. Unfortunately, we see that quite often. I don't know how to explain this attitude. That is why I'm quite pessimistic towards this harbor incubator. I don't know what to do with the human resources. We really need people who share our values, not only those people who can write, but those people who share the values of our profession and the values of a democratic society. I'm These are not just words, these are the realities without which it is impossible to create high quality media. That is why this problem is still relevant. I don't have answers to this question, unfortunately. If I may, I would like to share my experience. We also had a school, a journalist school. We have been working with Deutsche Welle Academy for a couple of years. First, we had a program for civil society journalists, which was aimed at students of journalist faculties or civil society activists who wanted to cover activities in the regions. And then later, we organized a more professional school. Now we have the School for Universal Editors. It's not big. We have 8 students there. We train them. We have 4 sections. starting from basic journalistics, how to write, how to edit, how to make sure that your work is secure, digital security. Second section is about media management, including budgeting and so on and so forth.
And now we have the digital module. So I would like to say that even for previous last year, graduates, some of them have changed their place of work. They believed in themselves and initiated some media outlet. For example, Drohobych City, it's our Natalia Kindratiev who has finished SUR. And these mass schools, they can be productive, but in fact people genuine per their values and they understand how to build or how to change their media outlet for it to be of good quality. That's the case that we have. I would like to, if speaking about personnel, I would like to, and if we already agreed that we have to compete, with for salaries and so on, I will have a question for Anna. Can media be business? Do we need it to be like business? Or should we say, okay, we can't make money on it, but we carry the values and the international donors can support us? Because in fact, everyone started including or doing ad, and it seems like it looks okay, but such a high competition for it and such big resource invest in it that not so much can be earned on it. Do you have some kind of model? How do you do it? Well, we exist thanks to grants. We have been studying for a year, and I mean we have been studying to make money for a year. We have the ad department communicating with the business. And when we say we have a cool idea, let's make an image project and we'll make the video, we'll do it this way and that what, and they ask us how much. And they say, okay, clear. And that's when it's over. That's where it ends. So far, it is fighting for for business to believe that these are not just jeans materials, saying that Vasya Pupkin is good boy, but indeed they say he's a responsible employer. He does something. I think it just works this way. So it's hard to earn on ads, but this direction has two components. As a representative of a website, I like our representative. As a representative from the Rodia, I look at our colleagues who are, damping, then do it again, because then we just cannot survive at all. Because it's difficult to set some good prices, because there are all Ukrainian radio stations said we can make money in Kharkiv because their business pays, but in Bakhmut we will have such a price that is just minimum one because it's something additional. But when it's only the local one, it's difficult to have a dialogue with a local business. Now we have to combine to communicate with grant organizations, take pro-international projects, and partly have some profit from business. Another question. Do you think the regional journalists can be saved if they stay close to their audience? And secondly, how and where do you learn information about your audience? How do you communicate with your audience? Because we have spoken about community, and I like these titles: Club of Friends of Ukrainian Pravda. Do you have a thing like this? I'll start with question 2: how the interaction with the audience is built. it's easier to do it with the regional media than national, because here you can really write about the neighbor everybody knows, or about the man. We have, for example, when I have a nice story, it's about the Olympic Games. So the man who won in swimming, and he's from our city, and many know him. And when they read about him, it's easy to build that communication around this topic. Right now, we are constantly interacting with our community on account of what kind of article they would like to read, or if they think we give them a choice of 3 articles. It's a good promo for the future article, because when people can vote for this article to be written, and then when they read it, they say, cool, we had an impact on content that's on the website. And I think that we should communicate with our audience all the time, because we don't just write it like for everyone at once. We write for specific people. We have 8 portraits of our audience, and each material is issued for a separate portrait in the audience. So this is Christina, for example. She's 29, she works there, and so on. So there is such problem. Maybe it's not only my point of view. We all think that democracy, value, standards, we all need it. And then you go to some outlet, and there we have the title like like with your genitals in the sand, and then you understand that, okay, and what am I doing then? But it's just someone's opinion, somebody's thought, but you can't call it journalism. Well, let it be. Well, somebody says genitals with the sand, and somebody is actually working. And on the one hand, we shall see lots of reviews, but that's not journalism. It's a totally different thing. A question for you. Okay, how we did this? There were 2 specialists and told us, if you want much traffic, we will give you the guidelines. We read the guidelines, and we had to do 3 recipes of cherry pies, a horoscope for the week, and what you shouldn't eat, some conditions. And a lot of mass media are following this, because they have to respond, to the cover. And because the marketing department says your text has been viewed by 700,000, but then when you go to the website, you see there's an interview with Zelensky, and here it's about pies, and they only care about coverage, then it's not clear what the site is about. Have you dealt with this? About 700,000 views? Okay, but who are these people who watched it? What is their quality? Well, let's say that this business article will be written, and what will it do? They will go and buy, they will become customers. We cooperate with one IT company, and we have the native ad with them, and they tell us, we know that you're not top 3 in the region, but we know your audience, and our audience and your audience overlap. So they have analyzed, and they prepared these circles, and they say, we have this cross section, and we know that you will produce a good quality content, and we know that our employees read you too. So this is about trust. That is why it's about, you can write about a pie, but what is the aim? Is it to make it useful for the audience? Well, perhaps. But our audience will be very surprised if such material is placed. We work, with our heart, and we know some of our audience in person. We have a like circle of audience with whom we interact, and we also have the offline interaction. Before pandemic, we held such events. We called the Media City, where we invited representatives of NGOs who come to our press center, or about whom we produced materials, and we invited the musicians and invited guests. And so we showed them there are NGOs, these are no abstract people you don't know, but here they are, you can communicate with them. There are these journalists, you can talk to them. It's not only about telling about your problems, you can just discuss something. And it was really cool. It was about this, you know, crowd that is not only on the screen. I have a question from the audience. Experience of media of Donbass is unique, but how do you stay faithful to your social mission and to still be, you know, profitable? So please tell me, did your audience change for this entire period as of 2014? And how do you research it? Is it like a core audience or not? Of course, the audience is changing, and we could feel it. We could feel every crisis. In 2014, there was, of course, the division of our audience on into was a split, like into pro-Russian ones and the pro-Ukrainian, and we felt that we lost part of our audience, of the pro-Russian audience, because people who didn't find you know, the correspondence to their viewpoints on our website, they tried to alienate from us, but we managed to increase our audience thanks to the interest of audience from other regions and even from other countries. And then the situation got stabilized, part of people came back to us, and now I can feel another challenge, that which is vaccination. It's also the question that splits up our audience, and we lose trust too. So periodically we face such challenges. How do we explore it? Well, Google Analytics, of course. In 2017 we had another cool experience. Thompson Foundation, we went a grant and they helped us, and we did a real social survey. The Kiev agency did it, and we realized very well. We actually came to know our audience very well. We knew about the quantity and how well our website is recognized. So those were positive results, and I thought it was going to be worse, especially after the 2014-2015 crisis. So we managed to hold our audience, and we monetize it because we make money on the views. And these are good funds. How do you do it? The contextual ad, and the more views we have on our website, the more of contextual ad that we can sell. And what is the percentage of the budget covered by this from your office? Well, our ad, it's 100%. Because there are different kinds of ads, but we have no other financing. I can't also say grants and say that they are the source of our financing, because it happens from time to time, and these are small grants for production of some certain content. So you earn money and you produce the good quality content. Yes, but we can't refuse, you know. That's what I say in titles. You know, we're looking for the balance between the professional standards and how to you know, attract the viewer. How do we make them look a bit further than what it says in the title? Well, let's say we get some big topic and there are many questions, so the journalist went for briefing, and he heard, so it's like example, he heard about vaccination, that the new Moderna vaccination batch has been brought in, and we collectively decide which questions is the most acute, which one we have to pull into the title. And this is our everyday's work. That's how we are trying to hook them. Another example, once I was in the press tour visiting the enterprise in Lviv Oblast producing juice, Galicia.
When I got back home, I thought, who would be interested in that, about that in Mariupol? Okay, the enterprise was really cool, the owner was great, but I don't think it would be of an interest to Mariupol. So I wrote a headline that in Lviv people make more money than workers of a local factory. That was true. It was a fact. And it was the top article. I wanted to say that we are looking for a balance of how to stick to the standards of journalism and to ask provocative questions. We are always learning the interest of our audience and try to balance. A question to everyone. Don't you think, for example, that our media has an income? We pay our staff, and what's next? Shall we develop, because we cannot do the same all the time? Because we start thinking that you are in decline, so it's like a swamp. You do something, but it's the same all over and over again. So probably you want to employ new people and you don't have money. Do you think, what are the next steps for our editorial offices? In our situation, we have worked for 7 years. And last year we had this glass ceiling situation. We reached our maximum, we reached the ceiling, and we did what we planned. Although at first you wanted to work until Slavyansk was occupied, nobody thought that you didn't think that you'd be doing that for 7 years. Yes, it's true, I wanted to work there for 1 year and then leave. But everything changed. We sat together and had a strategic session. We thought how we would like to develop. We had our team, we developed a strategy and an action plan, and that is why we are now moving forward. So I would like to say that in any case we need to develop. Even if we don't change, the world changes, and we always need to run as fast as the world. And it's even better just to run even faster. In my opinion, we need to develop, we need to build up a potential, and we need to find new opportunities. Thank you so much. Nakipilo, what about you? Are you going to develop and grow? Yes, we are growing already because we receive grant money. We now get support for creating a radio station. Because let me remind you that in our city with 1 million inhabitants, we don't have a Kharkiv radio. That is why we no radio stations. Of course, we have Suspilne here. However, we don't have our local radio station. By the way, that's a real problem. I would like to comment on that. Several years ago, we worked with the Christmas radio. However, it's a seasonal radio, and now we are about to launch our radio station, Nakipilo radio station. We will discuss different things which are related to our region. We will also discuss local Kharkiv music. We understood that the newsroom team won't be able to do that. That's too much, otherwise we will just die off. And of course, after the elections, we were so tired. It seems to me that they already have a lot of tasks to do. We are working quite actively, to put it mildly. So we found new employees, a new team. Of course, we will integrate it into the work of our editorial office, but still we needed new people, new blood. I understand that without support or without further monetization of this project, I don't think that we will be able to last long. I cannot forecast. However, these are the plans for the next few months to come. As for the widening our newsroom, I would like to say that we work in Trello app, and we have a special column for topics that we don't have the time to cover because of course we have a lot to do. One way to go is to work with those topics, to work with freelancers, not necessarily freelancers from Kharkiv. That sorry for interrupting you, but our time is left. Thank you so much for this discussion. So the conclusion is we can make money, and if you do make money, it doesn't mean that you publish prefab news. Thank you so much for discussing this topic with me today. Thank you.
Так мы же